So, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us again, or me. Welcome to this session. We're going to be doing recuperative poses today. You've seen the sheet, hopefully, with the list of postures. So you'll need quite a lot of equipment: bolster, blocks, bell, blankets. If you don't have a bolster, you can use something like, if you've got a spare mat, you can fold it like that and put it on top of 2 foam blocks and a blanket on top, then that can serve as a bolster shape. Okay, so again, I have to say this every week: if you are a beginner and you don't practice regularly, this is not a class for you. This is a guided practice for those that are already practicing yoga. Okay, so if you're in any doubt, you can always watch and practice later, or ask and learn the techniques and then practice, or you can contact me for more information. Okay, so we're going to start with the chant to the Guru today, because it's Guru Purnima, which is the full moon. Every full moon cycle, we say or pay homage to our Guru. That could be anybody, actually, that brings light into your life. But for me, in particular, it's obviously B.K. Iyengar and Gita Ji, who passed into the next life. And also to pay respects to all the teachers that have influenced me over the years. So I'm going to chant the Guru chant today instead of the Patanjali chant. And if you just sit on a lift, I'm on a bolster here, and just close your eyes, bring the palms together, close the eyes, and then we'll start the session. So just bring yourself quietly inside, settle yourself down, sit tall and straight. Relax all the muscles of the face, tongue, throat, lips. And follow the movement of the breath to quieten the mind. And if you know the chant, you can chant with me. Otherwise, sit and listen, and we'll chant 3 Om sounds to start with. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya javaidhyakena yopa karotam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram Shanga Chakra Siddharinam Sahasra Shivasam Setam Pranamami Patanjalim Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Hari Om. And then we bow our head down to salute not just Patanjali, but the teachers that have come before us to pass on the practice, especially on this auspicious day. And release the hands and raise the head up and extend your legs forwards. I'm just going to check that my microphone is working. Yes, okay. All right, so we're starting off with Savasana. So we're trying to bring ourselves into that quiet space so that we can do our practice in a more mindful, quiet way. So although there's going to be some active asanas, they'll be done in a supported way, obviously because it's a recuperative practice. So if you take some support for your back and a support for your head, and then I'm going to, as usual, use the timer, and we'll start with simple Shavasana, but with a lift, so we call that Shavasana 2. Okay. And we're just going to do a short Shavasana, and then we'll start the other asanas after that. So I'm just putting the timer on. And as we've been discussing this week, it's very important to have the right supports so that you don't feel aggravated, but you feel supported. So make sure that your hands and your feet don't touch the wall, and that you're able to adjust your buttocks away from the lower back, adjust the shoulders, spread across the chest. Back of the neck long, so the face feels like it falls in towards the chest. And then relax the arms, relax the legs completely. Close the eyes. And if you have any kind of anxiety or depression and it's difficult to close the eyes, you can keep the eyes open. Don't force your eyes shut. But just try and soften the eyes, and all of us are following the breath to quieten the mind. And then when you come out, remember to roll to your side. Don't just sort of sit up. That's not very conducive to keeping your senses soft. And then come up. And then we're going to go into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now, I'm going to use the wall. I'm going to put my hands on bricks and my head on the lift. Don't stress too much if you don't know what props to use. Just do Adho Mukha Svanasana, down facing dog. But bear in mind, I'm going to hold it for quite some time. If you have ropes at home, then you can do rope dog, of course. I'm hoping to get mine installed soon. So I'm going to take bricks for my hands, and I'm going to put a blanket on my bolster. I'm not sure today what I'm going to need, so it's always best to have more props than you think. And that bolster is going to come just a little bit back from the wall because it needs to be under the chest. Now I'm going to put the timer on for just 2 minutes, so it's not a really long hold. Eventually you hold this for up to 5 minutes, but just for the benefit of everybody, we'll hold it just for 2 minutes, and then we'll move into Uttanasana pretty quickly with the head supported. Okay, so you might need to get some equipment sort of handy for that. Okay, so let's start the timer. So remember the golden rule about using props is that they're there to support your pose, you're not there to support the prop. So don't adjust your
stride or bend your elbows to get your head down. Just put more height in. And if you don't have enough equipment, just do normal dog and don't stress. And then once you've adjusted yourself and you've got yourself in the right position for you, you can close the eyes. And of course, it's entirely up to you if you come down and rest and then go up again or stay for the duration. And try to focus on the breath. Once you've adjusted your physical body, we were doing quite a lot of breath focus. So focus on the inhalation, exhalation. Find out where it takes you. And then you can walk forwards just to release for a moment. And again, we're going to take a 2-minute Uttanasana. So you need to adjust the height so that you've got something for the head. So that when you take the crown of the head down, it's supported. Okay, so it could even be a chair. And your hands need to be also wide and elbows slightly bent. So if you're straining to get the hands down, put blocks under your hands. Legs should remain vertical so that you're not leaning into your head. And then lift your head and come up. Now we've got Prasarita Padottanasana next, which is the standing pose with the legs wide. Again, we're going to take a 2-minute Prasarita. So you can use the chair for that if you need to, or have your head on the floor or on a block or a blanket. Okay. So I'm just going to do my pose. You don't have to copy me. You can work out your own pose. And I always use a blanket to start with, particularly in the morning. Sometimes the body's stiffer in the morning, and then that means I can just quickly take that away afterwards. So timer is on. We start off extending the trunk forwards, extending the legs, pressing the outer edge of the feet down, and then you go in towards the feet. Yes, we're live on YouTube, Suki. Thank you. It's my hair and makeup person's come in. Ow. Okay. So you have to learn how to ignore distractions at times, even when those distractions are biting you on the back of the head. Okay, so we've got now Shirshasana, head balance, and then the alternative to that is Urdhva Prasarita Padasana, and that's lying with the legs up the wall rather than the unsupported version. So those of you that are not going upside down, you can do this version. So you have your buttocks and legs at the wall. And as we did the other day, you can have legs straight. Then you can take the legs apart in Upavishta Konasana. And then you can bring the feet in like that in sort of 1 minute intervals, because we're going to do 3 minute head balance. Okay? So the rest of us can get ready for head balance now. So I use a pleated blanket because of my shoulders, but obviously you have whatever support you normally have. And I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. And hope that the timer goes off and I don't get attacked by a ferocious animal while I'm upside down. So we'll see what happens. She has been fed twice. Must be the full moon. And even in this pose, think about once you've adjusted your pose, or when you're lying with your legs at the wall, think about the breath again. Connect with your breath. And keep the eyes soft They can be closed if you're on the floor. They can be closed if you're in Shirshasana. But if you don't have the balance, if it makes you feel disconnected, then keep the eyes softly open. And those of you lying with your legs up the wall, don't forget to change your leg position if you have room. And now, everybody, Adho Mukha Virasana. I'm aware that I didn't include it in the beginning. So Adho Mukha Virasana to recover. And then come up. So we've got Supta Baddha Nustasana 2. Yes. That's a sideways leg extension, lying down leg extension out to the side. So I'm going to take a support for my outer hip so I can stay in the pose for 2 minutes without struggle. And I usually use that sort of size bolster, but it can also be a roll blanket like this. This is quite nice because the roll sort of really fits nicely against the outer hip here, because this has a kind of indentation, so that the shape of the support is very important to support the shape of the body. And also these Indian blankets are very firm. They're soft on the outside but firm in the middle. Okay, so we'll move that out of the way. And you might like to have the foot that's staying on the ground supported at the wall or something, and then the other leg out, or you could have the leg that's going out supported at the wall. So lots of different options there. And because of my space, I'm going to have to turn round. So the first side, I'm coming out this way. Okay, so be ready, and we'll start the timer.
Just make sure that that support's enough so that you're not fighting to stay there. I'm holding my foot to start with, but I may go to holding the belt. My arm gets too tired. Quite short arms compared to my legs, so sometimes this stretch here is so intense that it sort of distracts me from going inwards. So I sometimes use the belt, sometimes don't. The other way you can hold as well is to bend the elbow, of course. So that's another option, but the elbow should be as high as your shoulder so that you're not collapsing the chest. And then we'll change. So I'm going to have to turn around. And the difference between having the foot on the wall, the down leg foot, is that when you have it on the floor, you can keep on extending it. So you can, traction your lower back a bit more when the foot's not on the wall. But when the foot's on the wall, it makes the femur bone kind of feel more supported inside the pelvis. So there's different actions for different reasons. Okay, we'll come up. So, Supta Baddha Konasana is next. So we've got the Supta poses. So they're all supported. And Supta Baddha Konasana is with the belt, remember, around the hips. So hopefully most of you know that pose now. And then we've got Supta Swastikasana, which is the cross-leg pose. Or you can do Matsyasana, which is either in half lotus or full lotus. All right, so don't hurt your knees and try and force your knees into lotus if you're not used to doing it. But we did practice this yesterday in class. Gave some of you a chance to work towards it. And so you probably know whether you can or can't do that pose easily. So Supta Baddha Konasana first. And all of these we're going to do for 6 minutes, or both of these, sorry, for 6 minutes, so that the second one, when we change the cross of the legs, will be 3 minutes each side. Okay. I'm not supporting my thighs because they don't feel particularly tense when I'm in this pose, but you might need to have support under your outer thighs, particularly if your knees are very high and your groins are very tight. So that's not the timer, sorry, let me just put that on. Okay. And the arms can be either relaxed by the sides, or if you have the flexibility to take the arms over and then fold the others to that. But don't do that if that creates tension. And think about the breath, particularly in the abdomen area. And feel the movement is horizontal. So if you were to imagine the breath coming from the center of the navel and spreading sideways to the side waist, and then when you breathe out, feel as if the whole of that cavity spreads and softens towards the back body, and thereby creating space in the lumbar. And try not to let your mind get distracted. Instead, bring it to observing the breath, or even just the body. So you stay in that quiet moment, the present moment. If you have your hands over your head, bring them back. Hands to the belly first. Then bring the hands to the floor and just sit up. And then you undo the legs. You stretch out the legs. Okay, so we've got Supta Swastikasana, which is this one, with the legs across, and you have that really quite tight grip of the legs. You can even try holding onto the big toes with the first two fingers and then rolling down. Or you've got Matsyasana, more or less, with the legs in half Padmasana or full Padmasana. So I'm going to go for half Padmasana today because my left knee is a little bit grumpy, and I'm going to lie back in half Padmasana, and then we'll change sides. So I'm setting the timer for 3 minutes for the first side, and then when the timer goes off, you can sit up and try sitting up with your eyes closed. Remember, it's quite a nice feeling to just sit up and go through the changing of the cross with the eyes closed. And this is a more vertical feeling in the abdomen, where you feel that the stretch of the groins and then the extension up through the chest is more vertical. So you can think of the breath now, the inhalation coming up through that central part of the body into the top chest. And when you breathe out, feel as if the breath moves sideways towards the outer shoulders. And if that bothers you at all, just relax. Don't think about it. Don't force the breath in any way. You're observing it in any case. It's not a breath exercise, but it's a breath thought. But as I say, if that creates tension at all, just bring yourself back to just observing normal breathing, and make sure that you keep your mouth and jaw tongue relaxed, eyes softly closed if possible.
Okay, and then we'll undo the legs. Give the knees a bit of an extension in a very soft dandasana. We can come up. So we've got now some forward bends. And the forward bends, when you're doing recuperative work, and mostly with forward bends, you need the head supported to give that feeling of, if you put your hand on your head like that, you'll feel that's a very sort of sensitive spot. And if you've ever had a kind of stress headache, you tend to put your hand there. So it calms the bottom front brain. So the energy of the pose, forward bends, should be that the head is supported so that you go quietly inside. So do make sure you've got the right support, and that could mean using a chair, right? And we went through that this week, so and hopefully your teachers will tell you that as well. And you might need some support. So we're doing Upavishta Konasana first, then Janu Shirshasana, then Paschimottanasana. So three kinds of forward bends. I'm going to take, I think, a blanket to sit on. And maybe like that. Upavishta. And then I'm going to have a bolster. But I always take extra, just in case I'm having an off day. Or I've miscalculated or something, and then I don't have to disturb. You might need a belt as well, but I don't want you to kind of think you have to pull yourself forwards. It's not really about that. It's about doing what's right, what's within your capability. So I'm going to take Upavishta Konasana first. So this is Upavishta, remember, wide legs, heels in line, and I'll mirror you so that we're turning the same way on the screen. So I'm turning to my left, to your right, Ajva, and then we go forwards and rest the head on the shin, or on the bolster, or on the back. So, and we're just going to take a minute each side. Not too long. No, actually, we'll do a minute and a half because that'll give you time to get in and out of it as well. So we'll set the timer for. And change. come up. Okay, Elvis has left the building, so we've got Janishasana next. Head of knee pose, not head to knee pose, head of knee pose. So I'm going to change my support. Like I was talking about yesterday when we did this, I tend to sit right on the edge of the lift so that my thigh, when I bend the leg, the thigh can go down and it's not pushed up by the lift. So I've got sort of half buttock on the lift, half your right buttock on the lift. And please do make sure that your knees supported, and if you're very, very tight and your knees up like this, then start off higher on a bolster or something and then support the knee. Don't tolerate knee pain. It's not a good pain to work through. There are some pains that are muscular and you can extend through them and improve the situation. There are other pains which need attention. Okay, so we're going to again, take 1.5 minutes each side. So not a long hold. Classically supported forward bends, you'd hold for 3 minutes each side, maybe longer sometimes. And change. And then Asuna. That's the legs extended forwards. So I'm just going to I think I'll take the same support, just the bolster over the shins, but you could have the chair or a brick or something like that. And try to go forwards rather than sort of going down and forcing yourself down in this one. Okay. And then come up, because my timer didn't go on. I definitely felt more than 1.5 minutes. All right, so now we've got choice, chair Shavasana or Setu Bandha. So chair Shavasana, if you don't know what that is, you're not doing it, okay? Because I don't want you to take any risks. It's chair shoulder stand, and those that know how to do, you can set up for that. If you've done it before and you can't quite remember, then watch as I set up mine. If you're not doing inversions, or you don't know how to do chair shoulder stand, or you don't have the right equipment, or you're nervous about it, please don't do it. Do this alternative, which is Setu Bandha. And it's quite simply, remember Setu Bandha is where you lie back, shoulders on the floor first before you straighten your legs, and then you push your feet into the wall, or you can have your feet a little bit higher, but not higher than your hips, and that's your Setu Bandha, and that will give you that nice curve of the chest. Okay. Thank you, Suki. So chair shoulder stand. And I'm going to do the version with the legs up the wall today. So it's close to the wall. Gap. Health and safety, always have a mat on your chair, sticky mat. So that your blanket doesn't slide off. And then blanket on the edge of the chair, bolster for the head. And then you might want a blanket for your head as well, if you've got a hard floor. But put that underneath your bolster if you're using a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, remember I did a video yesterday that I sent to some of you. You can use your blocks, but make the shape the same as a bolster shape. Make sure it's not going to all come apart. And then, right, so we're going to do, let's see, right, well, 4.5 minutes. I think 4.5 minutes. And if you in Setu Bandha or in the chair Shavasana, if it's too much, you just slide out and come out and just rest while we finish. Right. I'm going to face you. Legs go up. And then hook your heels on top of the chair, slide down. Adjust position of the bolster. Make sure you're tucked in. Arms can go underneath if possible. If you're using an ordinary chair that you're used to using, you have to put your hands where you can. You can hold the sides of the chair. And then the legs extend up. Don't turn your head when you're upside down. You also raise your legs up in Shavasana into, really it's more like a Viparita Karani action. And then you can just slide down. Rest there for a moment. And then I thought we would do just a little bit of seated ujjayi, which is the pranayama, the king of the pranayamas, the king breath, or the conqueror breath, I should say, sorry. If you haven't done pranayama before, we're just going to do breath awareness. So it's ujjayi 1, so it's pretty safe, but you have to do the chin lock, the Jalandhara bandha. So if you don't want to sit, if you're tired, then lie back down in Shavasana with the support under your back. Okay, we're going to finish in flat Shavasana, but we're just going to do 3 minutes or so to ujjayi. So I'm just going to clear my stuff. You can also sit in a chair for this, as long as you're sitting upright, nice and straight. And I'm just going to make a warm surface for when I want to lie down in Shavasana afterwards, so it's there ready. And I'm going to take the lift to sit on so that I can sit nice and tall. You can sit in any seated pose like Swastikasana, Siddhasana, Virasana. Let's just change that to 3 minutes. And I'll talk you through a couple of breaths. Well, when I say talk you through it, I'm not talking about your timing. I'm just talking about what you're observing, so that you can feel that. But obviously the rhythm will be yours because it's your natural breath that you're observing. So we have to get the seat firm. We have to get the lift. To get that opening. You should feel a little bit more open now, since when you first sat an hour ago, or whenever it was. Yes, I'm overrunning a little bit, sorry. And then just relax your hands and take the head down. Keep the lift of the chest. So this is the Jalandhara bandha, the chin lock, to seal the energy of the breath in the trunk. And we're not playing with the breath, we're just observing the breath. So if this is too difficult, you can keep the head up with this one, as long as you're not doing any kind of
exercise with the breath, you're just observing. And with your eyes closed, relax completely the shoulders, relax the jaw and the tongue and the mouth and the throat. So all of those areas should be completely soft, to face soft, like Shavasana face. And be careful that you don't push your ribs forwards in an effort to lift up. So keep the buttock flesh from top to bottom, moving down towards the support. The front hip bones lifting and moving back. Pubic bone lifting, front spine lifting. But shoulders, trapezius muscles cascading away from the neck towards the floor. And just watch the inhalation and the exhalation. And when I say watch, observe with your eyes closed the length of the inhalation, the length of the exhalation. Observe the changes of pressure when you breathe in and out. So you might feel there's a slight pressure in the eyes or in the cheekbones, inside the mouth, in the ears. Some of you more sensitive ones, more experienced, might find that you can feel the changes of pressure in other parts of the body, like the hands, palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. And those that are even more experienced, that practice regular pranayama, you might find it's quite natural to start deeper inhalations, deeper exhalations, moving towards Ujjayi 4, which would be Ujjayi 7 because we're in the seated position. But don't play with the breath if you're not experienced, just observe it. And not only does the head in this position seal the energy of the pranic energy in the trunk, but it also allows the mind to really physically look towards the chest, to penetrate inwards, to try and get as close to that breath awareness as possible, to quieten the mind and the senses. And then after your next exhalation, with closed eyes, raise your head up. Just let the head be there for a moment or two. Face passive, eyes softly closed. And then gently open your eyes so that you can position yourself for the final pose, which is Shavasana, which will take for a few minutes. Okay, so just flat Shavasana. You might want to put your bolster support on your thighs or under your knees and have a small support for the head, and make sure that you're warm enough. So this Shavasana now is the final pose. Don't miss it out. Feel as if in this pose you assimilate, percolate all of the effects of the previous poses. And then you completely surrender your body into the floor. There's no more movement except that of the breath moving the body with its rhythm. And the mind is neither in the past nor the future. But connected only to the present moment through its relationship, its connection to the breath. And even if there's turmoil in your life, or just busyness, maybe too much activity, too little activity, whatever's troubling us, there is the breath to come back to, and just these few minutes to be completely at peace. And then once again, bring your hands on your belly. With closed eyes, roll to your side, bending your left leg, roll to your right side. And then pushing your left hand into the floor, slowly come up and sit just for one more moment, palms together in front of the chest, eyes closed. And then bow the head towards the fingertips, towards the heart. And release the hands. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let me know any questions. See you next time.